Upsets this weekend. All right, I just pushed the live button on the whole, uh, Facebook, so we'll see how that looks. Okay, that looks good. Hopefully sound is good on that end. I think I fixed my, mic issues. Everything looks good. All right. Well, we'll give things like just a minute or two and let people kind of spool on in on all the social medias as well as on here, and then we'll just kind of dive into things. I know everybody's trying to get settled in from the time change, so that's always fun. I know it's still taking me a minute. I feel like it's late as heck right now, but it's not, and it's dark as crap outside already. It's already like I walked outside to take the dogs out around like 6 and it was already dark as heck. Gotta love that. I thought they were voting on that, but I think someone shared that it was didn't quite make it through the Senate to get rid of the daylight savings issues. I know it's just mainly something that helps with farmers and all that kind of good stuff, but to each their own. So I know when the time springs forward, that always gives people more issues than it does helps. In fact, there's actually a lot of health issues that kind of goes along with that. But all right, if y'all are joining in on social media, Facebook, YouTube, even on Twitter, we're even live on Twitter. Welcome to Sunday Night Prep. This is something that we started doing a while back ago. And then the podcast kind of took over for a brief moment there. So now we're just kind of reintroducing the Sunday Night Prep. And what we like to do here is really just kind of go over the broad markets first, and then we'll work our way down from the broad markets to the sectors, and then any kind of individual tickers that I might be looking at, or any individual tickers that you guys are looking at. So if you have any ticker requests, feel free to shout them out. We'll take a look at them more so towards the end. Of course, we want to take our first steps by looking at the broader things first, pretty much working our way down. We want to see where the ships are sailing before we go into deeper dive. So welcome everybody. Good evening. Hope everyone's had a good weekend so far. Yeah, wild weekend in football world. Georgia uh, did pretty well against Tennessee. I saw that Alabama lost against LSU. That was pretty crazy right there. So sorry about that, Bama fans. I know that's kind of crazy. But yeah, other than that, let's see. I haven't checked in on pro football tonight, so I hope there's some good ones out there. And I haven't really been paying too much. We've been out and about this weekend. But all right. Good evening, Arctic Fox Assassin Booze. Who's your pepper? Bacon. Shaman is in here with us. Yeah, it's welcome, Alex. Yeah, first Sunday night prep. Yeah. If you have any ticker requests, feel free to shout them out, and we'll go ahead and get a deep dive into things. So, all right, here on my screen, as you can see on the left side column, we have the daily chart, and on the right hand side, we have the hourly chart of the SPY. The hourly charts do have the market and post market info turned off. I jinxed your Phillies. I think that was a good thing that the Phillies. No, I'm just kidding. I got like this weird love hate thing with Bryce Harper, but yeah, congrats to the Astros. It was a good series for sure. It almost came down to the wire, going all the way to Game 7. So that was pretty wild. Uh, yeah, I stayed up for that. It was pretty late night, but all right, here on the SPY, we did get a little bit of a cool down after being incredibly overbought and a little bit extended on intraday time periods. Pretty much last week's move was a little bit of a reset of the momentum that we had from this pretty impressive run up over the past few weeks. This could be a positive situation, but it's a little bit too early to really tell from. So if we jump in over to the SPX, which is just basically the SPY, you can see that the hourly 200 here on your right hand side, this red line here is your hourly 200. It has held a pretty incredibly tough test of that hourly 200. But as you can see, we're still kind of below the hourly 50. So what that kind of tells me is that, above the hourly 50, the Bulls can pretty much have the momentum. Below the hourly 50, but above the 200, this tends to be a little bit of a neutral spot in nature. So the Bulls aren't really in control right now, and the Bears aren't really in full control right now. So if you take it, I want to see the Bulls make a good stand here, push above the hourly 50, and then go from there and reset on the trend. And as for the Bears, they want to hold together hourly 50 up here at top at about 38.20, and then push the Bulls back down below the hourly 200. As you can see here on the daily on the SPX, you can see that there is a pretty good battleground. 38.10 and 39.10, 39.15. Those are going to be our key spots there. Of course, we got some pretty outside influences coming our way with the elections on Tuesday, midterms coming up. That's always an exciting time for the market. That always kind of throws in a little bit of a curveball. We'll see what kind of happens from that. And then we also get CPI data, which of course we had FOMC and all that kind of good stuff. And Powell really reared in and kind of like slapped down the markets. There was some little bit too much hope out there for the Fed to, try to get some pivot moves going. But, Powell just came in and said they're going to pretty much stay the course. And they thought that they gave out words like premature and all that kind of nasty words, that kind of shot things down throughout the market. So down we went. And, hey, we played puts, we played calls. Pretty much this market says really good bi-directional market. Day trades continue to be your best friends. Of course, there are some names out there that are continually to push into all-time highs. So be sure to go to FinViz, whatever scanners you have. Be sure to check out those all-time high names. It's pretty interesting. Uh, the diamonds, they pretty much hold the strongest out there in comparison to the IWM. IWM arguably second, and then of course, in terms of structure and momentum, you get the spies and the Qs are obviously just absolutely getting pummeled, and that's mainly because tech is getting absolutely creamed with the rising rates and all that kind of good stuff. And then if we take a look at China, big cap China FXI, you got a little bit of a possible bottoming out, nice little gap up. We'll see if that continues to push. I would like to see 23 hold up. So I do have a little bit of a slight eye here on the China names. If they can get back above the 24 and we see that hourly 50, this blue line cross back above, and we just start to push above 24 and hit 26. And even so 30, which is where the daily 200 is. Now, granted, we're still below the daily 200. You can use this as your equator, so to speak. So if you're trading above the daily 200, yeah, you can be bullish. If you're trading below the 200, you can be bearish. So keep in mind, there's this battle going on between the long-term time frames and the shorter-term time frames. Because the market is moving so fast, even with the incredibly wackadoo VIX, VIX is on a 14-day low. If you want to bring that chart up, this thing is just absolutely crazy. You would think volatility is just outrageous, but no, we are just on this crazy, crazy stair step down, and yeah, it's just pretty wild stuff going on right now with the VIX. 14 days in a row of red. Now, I do think, if this thing continues to hold 23, if as long as it stays neutral and trades sideways or moves lower, then of course that will be a good sign for the bulls to push higher. So of all the sectors I like, energy, definitely number one in my book. We can get into individual names in a little bit, but as you can see, the overall structure, the trend, you got good momentum here on the histogram, good volume all around, and even the hourly structure here. You can see that the hourly 50 is above the hourly 200, we continue to make higher highs and higher highs and higher lows. So we just continue to stair step on higher on energy. And if you take a look at oil, you can see that crude oil is getting a little bit better. Now, if we do get a decent pop here on oil, 97 is going to be your target. That's going to be our upper band of resistance there on crude oil. So that could act as another tailwind for your energy names. So pay attention to your oil and energy. I like ZOM. XOM looks fan freaking tastic. You are getting into, trying to push above 115. That could be interesting. And then, of course, you have Oxy, which is the fan favorite for Uncle Warren Buffett there. So we're keeping a close eye on energy names. You also got Devon. You also got EOG. EOG, interesting little shooter candle here. We'll have to check that one out. But yeah, energy looks good. XLI, of course, looks pretty decent as well. That's probably in my number 2 spot. And then, of course, let's see, we can probably add in XLB for the most part. I would like to see this get above the year-to-date anchored volume weighted average price at 76.26 and try to make a push towards the daily 200. So you have a few sectors that are shaping up. Now, if you take a look at XLK, it's pretty much beat up, not as pretty as you would have it with the XLE. In Peron, that is a pretty interesting question there. In Peron asks, why does energy seem to constantly lead the market higher right now? It's just a rotation. A lot of people have pretty much left tech in the dust, as you can see, like names like Google, Microsoft, uh, Apple. Apple's not quite as beat up as the others, but we've had a pretty big rotation. In fact, in Meta, of course, just absolutely hot dog water on that name. So we've had some of these energy names, and energy actually used to be one of the biggest and leading sectors out there. And if you compare it with market caps and all the rotation going on, and maybe a little bit so the liquidity issue that the markets have been having, which has been actually causing problems and giving us those whipsaw moves up and down. Yeah, so energy has taken a little bit of the lead. I think ExxonMobil has taken a pretty good step in front of Meta and some of those other large cap names. So definitely check out those. How well those. Shoot, why am I brain farting here? La, da, 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 ta- Uh, can't think of the name right now. I'm brain farting on you. So, yeah, if you take a look at like those top 10 names, market cap, there you go. Check out the market cap and see how those have rotated in and out over the past, we'll say, go to year to date, I would argue. And you can see where that rotation is kind of going on. So, yeah, energy is just stepping up. And plus, you have uh, all the situations that is going on overseas, with Europe. You have the Russia Ukraine conflict going on. You have Nord Stream, so things are pretty tight as far as the energy sector goes. And yeah, we got U.S. energy names trying to fill in the gap to help our European partners out. So yeah, there's a lot of bullish stuff, things to kind of take into account for as far as energy. And I know there's probably tons and tons of other things, but that you can dive into. It's like a rabbit hole. But yeah, so there's our sectors that I'm kind of looking at. So energy, industrials. I like the XLB as well. I also like the idea of some short squeezes in some bottom feeder names, especially like Roku and Block SQ Square RZ or Block, excuse me. They've already reported earnings. As you can see, these names are pretty much beat up to a pulp already, but they're starting to turn a little bit a gold leaf. You can see on the histogram here that we are getting into a nice little squeeze on some of these names. And if we continue to shape up those squeezes and fire off, even on a daily, a 2 day, a weekly squeeze, yeah, those can definitely run and run quite high. So I'm definitely paying attention to some of those bottom feeders, such as Roku, Pins, Snap, Block, and these are going to be more term, like medium term, short term to medium term, and we'll see how those things continue to shape up. Yeah, exactly. Starbucks, yeah. Looking at Starbucks, they just reported their earnings. I mean, this chart looks pretty decent. I'm actually looking uh, at this one as far as the long goes. So good shout out there on Starbucks. Yeah, Boeing. Yeah, Boeing's at an interesting spot. We're hitting our heads up against the daily 200. If you've ever had if you've ever traded Boeing, you know how frustrating it can definitely get. Let's see. Let's kind of zoom out a little bit here on the weekly chart. Yeah, as you can see, this is kind of sideways here. I'm not too fond of Boeing. It can be a headache of a trade between 250 and 100. Granted, that's a big range, and we're kind of still at the bottom of it. So, yeah, you could try it. Tight stops at about 100 if you really want to get into it. I know trading the options can be absolutely wackadoo. Metals, of course, this will do very well in a falling dollar environment. So I'm watching metals. And then, of course, like I said, oil above 97. Crude oil, yeah. I have to type that out. Yep. Can't see my screen sometimes. Yeah, crude oil above 97 looks really good as well. Let's go back to a daily chart there. And as you can see, we also got a nice little daily squeeze, 2 day, 3 day, multi-day squeeze there on crude oil, which can very much so act as a tailwind for our energy guys. Now, as far as the options chains go, if you take a deep dive into your options, especially your same day expirations on the SPX and the SPY, you will notice that there's a lot of action going on under the hood. And this is happening on the same day expirations and the weekly options, not so much on the monthlies. So, what that kind of tells me is that this indicates a lack of conviction uh, within the trading community. So the markets do remain a little illiquid, and that cuts both ways, both up and down. And if you really look at it, if we take a look at Apple, this seems to be the very last mega cap name out there that is left standing, but it is definitely taking some fire here. You can see that it is trying to hold on to that 134, 135 level. If we do happen to crack, uh, I'm expecting that we come down here uh, to possibly retest this weekly 200 all the way down at 108. That's just my plan. Of course, I need to see it crack, especially below 135, 134, even maybe even 128. We got plenty of levels to kind of test and see what happens from there. But if Apple does want to break, that could send the last man standing on down, and down we go. And finally, we will get everybody to capitulate because we've already seen some pretty crazy moves to the downside on Google. We've seen pretty bad downward moves on Amazon. You got it in Meta, of course, is having an identity crisis. And just losing money just in general. Let's see. You also have Nvidia. We know the semiconductor names out there have just been absolutely getting smoked, and kind of taking. See, you could have a little bit of a bottoming situation here, but it's not so quite set in stone. They really need to kind of fix themselves a little bit, and you got a little bit of this tightening here on the hourly on AMD, so that might be worth a while to look at next week. That might be on my watch list going into the week for sure. And of course, software definitely remains weak just because of the rising rates. Overall, Fang names look absolutely horrible, but we've already seen, we've started to see sectors taking shape across the board, especially with energy and the industrials and builders and all that kind of good stuff. And we could even argue like maybe natural gas is probably not quite ready. We'll kind of take a look at that. But yeah, Apple is definitely a big key. Sorry, I keep kind of getting jumped through. So if we take a look back here at Apple, Apple is definitely uh it's the last mega cap stock left standing, and it's taking fire below 135, even 129. I think it goes to 107. Apple is a big key to how things kind of continue and progress. Um, yeah, I would love to see Apple get back above 140. I think that is crucial, even above 145, and get itself back above these hourly moving averages, and kind of go from there. Of course, mark your intraday levels there from price action. Price comes before your indicators, so always remember that. Look left, see where support and resistance levels are, and kind of go from there, and then use your indicators. But yeah, all in all, the main keys are going to be, I need to see the SPX stay above the hourly 200, and I need to see the HYG. This is your junk bonds. Is pretty much leads the SPY. It's kind of crazy. I would like to see the HYG hold on to the hourly 200, and I would love to see the Apple hold above 140, or get back above 140, and then kind of hold those levels. Uh, Scooty, welcome, man. Yeah, questions are definitely okay. Feel free to ask them. If anybody has any ticker requests, feel free to give them a shout, and we will take a look at them as we come to them. So yeah, so Apple needs to get above 140. So above those levels, the market is pretty much neutral. Like I said, SPY is kind of stuck in between this zone here, but holding pretty well. Uh, so we need to see above the hourly 200. Bulls need to get momentum back. You can see the histogram on the daily has started to kind of wane down a little bit. We need to see a shift into that. Pay attention to some monthly squeezes. Yeah, especially on Apple. Apple does have a monthly squeeze. Um, that could have some pretty big connotations there to send us to that 107 level. In Perone asking about Walgreen boots. Yeah, definitely. That's actually a fan favorite, isn't it? Uh, let's see. So pretty much the burden of proof is on the Bulls, and they need to show that they can break resistance and hold support. So they really need to get their act together and push on up. So if the Bulls can get the price back above, let's use SPX, but you can use SPY too, because they're pretty much both intertwined there. So SPX definitely needs to get back above this 38 20 level, and kind of hold from there and kind of rebuild structures. I would like to see the HYG above the hourly 50 there, that blue line, which is at about 73.45. And then, of course, like I said, Apple above 140. So if the Bulls can get back above 38.10 on the SPX, 38.20, then there is a nice little air pocket. There's a nice little volume gap. I wouldn't say volume gap too much. That's probably a little extreme. You do get a little bit airborne, about 100 points worth. So on the SPX, if you can get that 3820 level, you got resistance at 3900. That's where we hit our heads up on the end of the past week, and then at the beginning of the week. So definitely have a line drawn at about that 3910. That's also your previous 50% retracement from the, what is that, the August highs and the October lows. So if you draw a fib level from that, that's where you'll get that 50% retracement. Now, once you get above 3910, yeah, off you go to about 4,000. So that could be quite fun. But yeah, as far as the Bears go, they want to hold the prices below, and they want to actually crack this thing down below the hourly 200 and send us on down. So as for the Bears, you want to see them come up to the 3081 level, hold their ground there, and push it on down and go from there. So if the Bears do happen to reestablish their dominance, which we've seen them do time and time again, and we will have to continue our bearish ways and just continue to grab puts, and that could also give us a sizable drop and pretty much wipe out all these bulls right here. I don't have my pen up. Let me see if I can get that out, just so it would be nice so I can draw on my screen here. So let me see if I can get that up. There it is. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. So if we get a break below this hourly 200, and the Bears kind of gain back some momentum, gain some ground, you're pretty much going to knock out all these guys that got so bullish on the run up, and they're just going to get stopped out and clapped, and down we go and retest the lows from there. That's an impressive straight line, ain't it? Usually I don't draw lines that good. But all right, so that kind of leaves us to the sectors. Like I said, XLB, XLE, financials, maybe. Metals, you got Alcoa, you got FCX. Of course, copper does play a big role. It can be a leading indicator for the economy in general. So we do want to pay attention to copper, which is HG. We would like to see that continue to push on up. If we take a look at the SPY, like I said, it's not the strongest in my book. It's third. It's pretty much slowed down by the tech components. We do need to break above the weekly 21 at about 390. If we do get above 390, we could see 410, 408, 410, which gives us a nice little push on up to the year-to-date volume-weighted average price, which I need to fix this, don't I? Let's go to a year. There you go. There's the correct move there. That light blue line here, that's the year-to-date volume-weighted average price. So we get above this 390 level, 410, 408, 410. That's what I'm aiming for the bull case scenario. But we need to continue to see how she handles pullbacks. That is definitely the key factor in this whole game as we try to navigate these a little bit of a neutral water spot here as we start out the week. You know, that's always been the key for the past few weeks is how well does the SPY handle pullbacks? And, you know, as of recently, anytime we've gotten a nice little push back or push up, we come back in, we bounce off the hourly 50, slingshot from there, come back in, retest our 50 and go forward. And it wasn't until, you know, recently that we cracked the hourly 50 and came back in. And from there, we, you know, we're just kind of holding that hourly 200. So that's what I'm kind of getting at, you know, how well does she handles pullbacks? So we need to reestablish structure, get above this hourly 50, and then get a retest and slingshot from there and, you know, progress from there. So yeah, pay attention. A daily close below the hourly 200 invalidates everything. It invalidates the structure, and we pretty much revert back to our bare necessities. So those are the levels on the SPY. Next, we go to the Qs. Qs pretty much needs to stabilize themselves back above 270. That is the battleground for me on the Qs. Yeah, that's pretty much what the bulls need to do. We do have some sell signals that are active there. It's really busted in comparison to the SPY. It really needs to reclaim this hourly 200 at 272. 270, 272, and go from there to even have a chance. And you know, currently the Qs, yeah, they're just bearish on all time frames. Sorry if I had that banner scrolling for so darn long. If y'all are watching on social media, yeah. So yeah, Qs they have a lot of problems here as far as the Nasdaq goes. And then of course, if we go to the diamonds, this is the strongest index, and that's pretty much primarily due to the inflationary components and safe havens that are, you know, kind of standing out right now. Big resistance at about 325, 335 zone. So you got a little bit of a zone to work with as far as the diamonds go. We do have an interesting monthly buy signal on the diamonds, and you know, we'll kind of get into that in the future, you know, as far as what that buy signal is. But yeah, you know, this is that's a very interesting signal, especially coming in from the monthly perspective, and we'll keep an eye on that. Of course, that will take time to really shape up and progress, but nonetheless, pretty interesting. 325, 335, fascinating. We'll see how that comes to fruition. And then IWM, your small craps, they are the second strongest next to the diamonds. It's a little bit neutral from now. For now, you see that the price action is kind of stuck between this 50 and 200, but we haven't really kind of come into the 200 retest, and we haven't really come up to the hourly 50 to retest either. So we're kind of seeing what can progress from there, and we'll just kind of go from there. So I'm not really too worried about the IWM. for now at least. My main focus is definitely going to be on the SPY and Apple. But if you want to play it, watch the break of the hourly 200. Now, if we go to the US dollar, this has been a pain in the head for market bulls. Now, we've had two weekly consecutive closes below the 8 EMA, the weekly 8 EMA. And we've also had a nice break of the daily 50, which is the blue line here. So arguably it's still intact, but I would argue that this is probably the most damaged it's been in quite some time, especially as far as structure goes. Below 112 is, sets things up for the dollar to continue to take a pause and to kind of head on down. And of course, that would be good news for the bulls. And of course, if the dollar continues to rise, that is obviously bad news for the bulls, but good news for the bears. Let's see. Scooty saying stocks are new to me, but I've been in crypto for 3 years. Okay, so Scooty, if you've been playing crypto and you've gotten familiar yourself with charts and candlesticks and all that kind of good stuff, you can translate some of that over to stocks and see how well the knowledge base translates over. But if you can read a chart in crypto, you can read a chart as far as stocks go. Options, yeah, it's leverage. Options is leverage. Yeah, in Peron's rights, getting 100 shares. Not really, but let's see. Booze, he's got a few for me. Domino's Pizza. Yeah, we'll take a look. Best Buy BBY. Momentum is swinging positive. That could be interesting. Yeah, retail and Infinity Concept asking about Expedia or EXPE. Yeah, we'll take a look at that one for sure. All right, but let's continue. We can take a look at some of these rates here. The 10-year Treasury note, trend looks pretty good. Nice structure, very bullish. You also had the TYX, which is the 30 years, and that looks pretty nice there. Implies to go with the flow here, go with the flow of higher rates until proven otherwise. It's innocent until proven guilty. And then we, of course, have crude oil. We kind of already touched base on crude oil. Looking for it to break above 97. Above 97, looking for a move towards 105, 107, and that could be pretty interesting. A little bit, you can see on the hourly structure here, it looks really good. If it can handle that pullback back to the 55, even a pullback to 90, yeah, I think that's setting the stage up for energy to do some pretty good things there. Let's get over to natural gas. Nat gas, sloppy at best. Trying to improve here on the smaller time frames. We'll see how that kind of goes. I'm not too much of a fan of natural gas. And then of course you got copper HG. It looks like the SPY, but it is definitely leading. This is definitely bullish for metals. It's definitely bullish in general. You can't really manipulate copper a whole lot, but this is yeah, this looks correct for risk on market. So the longer term structure momentum still remains a little bit bearish. We are still below the equator. We're still below the daily 200. We're still below the year to date volume weighted average price. So still a little bit of damaged goods, but yeah, this smaller time frame, this hourly spot looks pretty darn juicy to me. So we'll continue to monitor copper. I like F's Freeport McMoran, and then of course, we have to tie in crypto. So here's Bitcoin, definitely holding steady at that 18,500 mark. For me, it's a little bit difficult. It is getting some positive signs. If we zoom in here, you can see that the 80 EMA is above the 21 EMA, the 21 EMA is above the 50 SMA. So it's getting a little bit of resolution here. Upper target would be probably about 23K, 25-ish, and go from there. So there are some positive signs for me. I'm personally just not going to touch it. I think there are other things to mess with as far as that goes. Talked a little bit about the VIX. It's down 14 days in a row. It's very unusual, considering the crazy volatility. 23 is definitely a support level. 26 through 28, that's your resistance band. So, This generally benefits the bulls. Um, as long as this is range bound or moving lower, yeah, we're doing pretty good. Internals, 57% of S&P stocks are above their daily 50. So there we go. And then of course we have to pay attention to the 2-year, 10-year yield curve. The yield curve remains deeply inverted, and we've always kind of discussed how that inversion uh, usually kind of gives us a warning signal there that there's some kind of black swan event, of course, with everything going on in the world. That could be literally anything, or it could be a nothing burger. We'll kind of see what happens. Of course, got to take it day by day. Yeah, as far as things that I'm looking at, uh, Brandon already kind of spoiled it. Starbucks, I like Pepsi, I like McDonald's. I'm loving it. Uh, Lockheed Martin, IBM looks a little interesting here. Um, Apple, I want to see hold or get back above 140, or other that I'm going to short it to the ground. Crowd, I like for a move lower. It's just software is just absolutely terrible. Aflac, good thing the Alabama coach has Aflac. Let's see, I like Enphase. FSLR had a great move last week. BMY, that's another one. Caterpillar, that's another one that's on my radar. Let's see, we also have, you can probably throw in MU. That might be a pretty decent one. And then, of course, I'm going to watch AMD going on into the week because that hourly situation looks pretty fascinating to me. I don't know why I'm kind of drawn to that. So we'll see. Earnings, we got Palantir on Monday before the bell. We have Lyft. We also have Activision. Let's see. We got Oxy on Tuesday afternoon. Upstart, Affirm Tuesday afternoon. Rivian Wednesday. Let's see if anyone's. Let's see if we got any ones that I might be interested in. Let's see. I might be fascinated with Rivian. Roblox is Wednesday before the bell. That might be fun to play. I might do a call on that. I'll do some more digging. So be on the lookout if you're in the Discord on that. All right. So we've kind of run through pretty much literally everything. We've gone through the broad sectors, SPX, SPY. We've gone through the NASDAQ, IWM, the dollar. So yeah, let's kind of break it on down. Ticker requests. Let's get them going. Yeah, Starbucks, as Brandon mentioned, I like this as a possible potential move back on higher, probably even retest even 100 if she can hold itself together. Let's see, Infinity Concept, like your numbers there on crude oil. And let's see, Domino's Pizza. Yeah, interesting stuff here. Now, we've already had a daily squeeze fire off. You're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days into that, hitting itself on the weekly 21. So you do have really good structure here on the hourly. Now, I would say, if you want an entry, I'd wait for a pullback, grab it, a little bit cheaper, maybe around that 340 level. That would put you right back at the daily 8 EMA as things kind of cross back on up. And yeah, I would just kind of grab the pullback and go from there. And when you're wrong, I would hop out if you probably break 317-ish. That seems to be a pretty good zone there. You could also use the hourly 200 if you want to use the indicator as you're out, but I would use this price level here at about 317, 316. You got a nice little gap below here. So be mindful of that. But other than that, nice chart, nice hourly structure. Upside, I would target this year-to-date volume weighted average price, and that also gives you a convergence with the daily 200 simple moving average at about 380, give or take some change there. So that would be my upside targets on 380 with a stop at about 317. But I would like to get a nice little pullback entry. Probably shares would probably be interesting there. I can't remember. Last time I played dominoes was probably a while back ago. Check those monthly expirations. They could be a little illiquid, but yeah, definitely check out those monthly expirations. Probably need to go out to December at least. Just play around with it. if you don't want to do shares, if you'd rather do the options, or it could be better for a spread. Spread it. All right, let's see. We also have Best Buy from Booze. He wants to take a look at Best Buy. Yeah, retail, very interesting. Let's take a look at Target, Walmart. Ugh, you know, Walmart's on my do not trade list for anybody listening in on social media. I don't like to touch Walmart a whole lot. Yeah, Best Buy BBY momentum is swinging positive. Yeah, you do have a little bit of a daily squeeze shaping up. I would like to see it resolve itself on the hourly. It's a little bit sideways here, so I like it above 70 for long, and then if it drops below 65, I'm probably more inclined to go short. Um, you could try an entry depending. You got this nice little spinner candle here on the daily. Let's take a look at this weekly chart here. Weekly, of course, still making lower lows there. A little bit of damaged goods. You do have earnings coming up, so be aware of that. So if you want to move there, then just kind of be mindful of that. I need to change this to a year. I don't know why I did that to revert to 6 months. Let's see. EXPE. I think that was Expedia. Yeah. Expedia. Ooh, that does look like a good short. Good look, Infinity. I like this a lot. All right. So you have a nice little daily squeeze. You have a shooter daily candle right here off the daily 21 EMA. The hourly structure is sloppy, but kind of broken. I would like probably a nice little snag at 89. Above 102 would probably clear me out as far as a short goes. But yeah, I would pretty much be targeting these lows down here, 85. Let's kind of zoom out to this weekly chart because this looks beautiful. Thank you for sharing. 75 even. Geez. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Might take a look at that tomorrow. How are things looking up in Futureland? If we take a peek here, sorry about that. If we take a peek here at the futures, we can see that we did gap down here to start things off, but we've kind of stair stepped it up a little bit, pretty much filling that gap. A little bit better there on the ES. NQs, a little bit better. We'll see how the overnight session continues to hold, but for the most part, you had a little bit of a nasty dip there to get things started off. We do have elections coming up, so that's always fun. Everybody go vote. Let's see. We got a firm earnings this week. Looking for a short. Yeah, did PayPal already do their? PayPal did do their earnings, didn't they? And they got clapped just a little bit. I would like to see, yeah, how a firm is doing. You have a nice little daily squeeze setting up. Earnings are going to be on the 8th. Hourly structure is busted, favoring the bears. Daily structure, of course, favors the bears as well. Probably get a retest of about 14 and a half. We'll have to see where the market maker move puts it. But yeah, who knows? This thing could go into Pennyland if it has a bad report. But we've seen some beat up names have some really good reports over the last little bit. So that could be interesting as well. Could be a good one. Sava, they got a lawsuit on short sellers. Jeez. Yeah, this one's been fascinating. They had a nice run up above 50, just kind of coming in. Hourly structure still kind of sloppy, still a little bit messy there on the hourly. I would like to see it get back above 38, and then from 38, you could really test 45. I know this thing can make some moves. Let's see, where's this? Let me draw this fib level real quick here down at the lows from this run up. Yeah, you're trying to hold that 50. Yeah, get above 38, 37, off you go. That gets you back above the 382, and we can go from there. So let's see, let's draw this fib level here just to kind of confirm. Yep, 39, 41, 43. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'm not too sure what that lawsuit is all about, but that sounds exciting. If you're looking for a decent little pop, like those crazy ape names like to do, such as AMC and GME. We'll see how things kind of shape up from there. I know GME had a pretty wild pop not too long ago. Let's see here. Yeah, GME. Yeah, that wild pop to the daily 200, and yeah, everybody was like, "Let's go into the moon." It even got, I think, who got halted? Was it GME that got halted? It got halted and down it kind of went, just kind of killed the vibe as far as that goes. But yeah, you can see where it kind of hit its head there on the daily 200 and the year-to-date volume weighted average price, and just kind of came back in from there. So 25, 24, 50, 25. That seems to be the keynote there as far as GME goes. If you want to have that one in your pocket, you can try it. But yeah, Apple's definitely going to be big on my radar. It needs to get above 140. Can't say it enough. NP Bull did ask about Walgreen boots. Yeah, fascinating stuff. You can see here on the histogram, you had a little bit of a, not too much of a squeeze, but that squeeze did fire long. You had a great move to the weekly 21 EMA, even to the year-to-date volume weighted average price at about 37. Still looks pretty good. If you can clear this 37.50, do not see a reason why you can't go all the way up to about 40.50. The hourly structure looks really darn good here on WBA. Like I said, everything depends on how it handles its pullbacks. If it doesn't hold the hourly 50, you want to see it hold the hourly 200. And from there, you get into neutral territory in here. And if you can resolve itself to the upside, there you go. And you know your answer there, and you know when you were wrong. So Walgreen boots. Yeah, nice chart, nice hourly structure. Yeah, could very well see this nice move to the daily 200. That could be pretty crazy. But like I said, we got CPI numbers on Wednesday, I do believe. Let's see. Let me make sure I'm correct there. Um, Where's my calendar? Calendar. Next tab. Yeah. Okay, so Wednesday, no major events. Yeah, nothing on Wednesday. Thursday, CPI. Okay. We also have unemployment numbers. We have some FOMC members. U.S. elections on Tuesday. Next week, we get PPI. Fun. All right. Let's see here. Any questions here that we have on? I'm not seeing any more questions. Okay. Should be a really interesting week for MMAT, and their preferred share spinoff of the TRCH oil assets that are now under MMTLP. Say that 5 times fast. So you have MMAT, MMAT, TRCH, MMTLP. I couldn't make that as confusing as possible. Very speculative, but interesting if you've been following the story. Yeah, as far as I go, if you've been around me for a while, I am all about the charts. I don't read into fundamentals all that much, although they do play some role, especially long term. Keep your trading account separate from your long term account, please. Shouldn't be trading with your long term stuff. Keep your long term separate. MMAT, yeah, it's a penny name. You're probably looking at about, where's my draw here tool? There we go. Looking for about $2 resistance there. Hourly structure looks fantastic. I would like to see a pullback. You are extended. Pull back to 120 and reload the boat and come on up to test that $2 level. That's going to be a big level. We all know that whole numbers are very important, especially with penny stock names. Yeah, $2, very easy to spot there on MMAT. All right. So as far as things go, that kind of clears me up. If y'all don't have any questions, we'll go ahead and seal the deal and move on. So, yep, watching Spy, watching Apple, Starbucks, Crowd, Rivian, uh, Affirm. Let's see, I like Pepsi, McDonald's. I like Energy a whole lot. Zom, Oxy. Have those guys on your radar. Uh, yeah, lots of stuff to kind of pay attention to. We got elections coming up on Tuesday. CPI on Thursday. Could be a volatile week. Got one more thing here. We got Vale. If y'all are tuning in with us on the social medias, I appreciate y'all coming in and checking us out. Be sure to go to stockdads.com. Get yourself a weekly membership to check us out. We can easily set you on the right path. If you're new, we can set you up and get you on the right way to do things. We can get you, how to read the markets, how to read candlesticks, all the basic stuff to get you on the right path. And then if you're an experienced trader, we got just as much material for you guys than we do the new guys. So we'd love to have you as well. Vale here. Yeah, this is a little bit messy at best. Yeah, I'm not too fond of this one. You do have a little bit of a squeeze. You got a nice little volume node here from Friday. But other than that, I'm not seeing you're pretty much sideways between 15 and 1250, arguably 1172. So you're pretty much sideways here. You really need to clear above this our daily 200. You see how the flat this daily 200 is? And all these moving averages crisscrossing each other down here. This is clear cut indecision. This tells me no, do not trade me. I'm walking away as far as the daily structure goes. As far as the hourly goes, just as pretty wackadoo here. Nice little gap up. Sure, you could probably trade it back up to 1520. So much red. But yeah, not the cleanest cut things out there. I'd probably look elsewhere. Check your other scans and see what looks better. What looks better, Vale or MRO? I'd probably do MRO there. From price points, but similar-ish. One's 32, Vale's 15. Okay, so they're about half, whatever. I like Energy better. Let's see. You could probably check out how was General Mills. General Mills is pretty interesting. Well, that's 80. That's an 80 name, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, Vale. Nothing too fun, exciting there. It's just it hurts my eyes. It's very neutral. Even on my my momentum here, yellow signals. You got plenty of squeezes, daily, 2-day, 3-day, 4-day, weekly squeeze. Just not in my book. But if you get above 15, 30 and start to move, yeah, I'm all for it. Just a little bit sloppy for my taste. Yeah, you're welcome. Nah, yeah, MP Bull, you're doing a great job, man. You're doing fantastic. You've killed it on Walgreens and a lot of your trades recently. So good job to you. Proud of the work you've put in over the past few months, and you've absolutely killed it. I remember when you joined. We've had conversations back and forth, and yeah, you've done fantastic. It's quite impressive. But all right, that does it for me. Pay attention to those hourly structures. Watch the dips. Do they hold? Do they not? Watch the dollar. Junk bonds, HYG, that could be fun. Let's see. Apple 140. Apple 140. Yeah, Energy, fantastic. I think that's all I got for now. I appreciate y'all coming out to hanging out with me. Guys in the Discord, everyone on the social media, I appreciate y'all. If y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email is fuzz@stockdads.com if you need anything. or just come check us out. Also, check out the Dad merch store. Get you a Fuzz hoodie, Fuzz shirt. It's great, looks great. But yeah, all in all, thank you. Hopefully, my mic sounded much more better today than it did on the podcast last week. Sorry for blowing out everybody's eardrums. Not too sure what happened there, but hope you're okay and that you've stopped the bleeding. But all right, I will see each and every one of y'all tomorrow morning for the live session, and we'll kind of go from there. I'm going to go post my watch list for tomorrow. And yeah, thank you so much. I'll see you guys later on. I'll see you guys next week as far as the social media goes. Catch you next time.